In an upscale corner of downtown Chicago, where crystal lights shimmer against the foggy glass of luxury cars, stood a French restaurant hailed as a paradise for the elite, its name, Maison Blanche. Expensive, extravagant, and not meant for just anyone. That evening, the revolving door gently ushered in a lone guest, Mr. Arthur. A middle-aged black man dressed in a simple yet elegant suit. He came alone, his eyes were calm, his steps unhurried. He took a seat by the window and quietly placed his order. But within 5 minutes, a waitress approached, a white woman with platinum blonde hair, deep red lips, and a stare as cold as polished stone. "I'm sorry, sir, but this table has been reserved. I made a reservation online," Arthur replied. "The name is Arthur Kane." She pressed her lips together, glanced down at a sheet of paper, then silently shook her head. "I'm sorry, there's no record of that name. Perhaps there was a mistake. But we don't accommodate solo diners unless there's a confirmed reservation. No offer of another table. No hint of warmth. Just refusal." A few nearby guests glanced over. Some raised their eyebrows. Some shook their heads. Arthur rose, gave a slight nod, and left. But he wasn't angry. Instead, a faint, mysterious smile played on his lips, calm and knowing. Because he wasn't just a random diner. He was the new majority shareholder of Maison Blanche, the man who had quietly acquired controlling interest in the restaurant chain just the day before. When Arthur left Maison Blanche, he didn't look back. His modest suit brushed softly against the night wind creeping down the boulevard. But no one could have guessed, behind those calm eyes lay a memory buried for nearly 40 years. Back then, Arthur was just a black orphan boy living with his grandmother in a rundown corner of the South Side. His childhood didn't come with lavish breakfasts or a car ride to school. But his grandmother kept him neat, taught him manners, and often whispered, "No matter how the world sees you, you walk like you know your worth. You hear me?" One summer day, she walked Arthur across 5 city blocks to a restaurant, all for a bowl of beef stew she'd spent an entire month saving up for. Just one treat, one special meal with her grandson. But they were never served. Not because they didn't have money, but because of the color of their skin. Arthur still remembers the waiter's disdainful gaze, the smell of grilled meat mixing with the sting of humiliation in his throat. They walked back home, empty-stomached, sore-footed, and with a little boy's heart quietly cracking under the weight of rejection for something he could never change. Tonight, at Maison Blanche, the waitress's eyes mirrored that same look. Cold, distant, as if she were peering down from a ledge, offering no chance for someone to simply be. But Arthur didn't choose anger. He chose silence. Because he knew, kindness doesn't need to shout. It only needs the right moment to ring out. Like a school bell at dawn. Clear, awakening, and impossible to ignore. The next morning, at the executive office of Maison Blanche, inside the 17th floor boardroom, senior management received a strange message. The new investor will be arriving for an anonymous inspection. Staff are expected to maintain professional conduct with every guest. A quiet ripple of panic spread across the room. Some whispered, "Could this be fake? Why no name?" Still, everyone complied, especially Ava, the waitress who had turned away Mr. Arthur the night before. But she wasn't too concerned. To her, black men in modest suits were just walk-ins, not worth the tablecloth. That evening, a well-dressed black man entered the restaurant, but this time through the private door reserved for senior executives. It was Arthur, and now, he was the majority investor of Maison Blanche, having just acquired 60% of its shares from a struggling parent company. Arthur didn't come alone. He was accompanied by a young, sharp white woman, his assistant, holding a thick stack of documents. "I'd like a full review of the service quality," Arthur said calmly, "especially concerning Ava Johnson. It seems she may need a deeper understanding of the word hospitality." The kitchen froze. A manager quickly signaled for Ava to come in, though she still had no idea what was happening. Arthur added gently, "Tonight, I'll be dining here, as a guest." His assistant leaned closer, whispering, "A test?" Arthur smiled faintly. "No, a chance. To let them choose who they want to be, in the role they've been given." That evening, right at peak hour, golden candlelight danced across glistening wine glasses. Guests chatted softly, laughter floating like silk threads in the air. A gentle jazz tune hummed from the corner where a pianist played. Lost in the rhythm, Arthur entered. This time, no one stopped him. No one asked if he had a reservation. Everyone had been warned, don't make the same mistake twice. But Arthur didn't head straight to his seat. He walked slowly down the corridor, eyes scanning the room, until he saw Ava. Still on duty, still with red lips and that usual confident gaze. His assistant stepped forward, placing a thick folder into the hands of the manager. Here's the service attitude report for the past 2 weeks. And this is last night's camera footage. The room fell into silence. Ava turned. Her face froze as she recognized Arthur, the very man she had dismissed just the night before. Arthur stepped toward her, calm as ever. Hello, Ava, do you remember me? His voice steady, free of anger. She stammered. I'm sorry if I was out of line last night. I didn't know who you were. Arthur smiled faintly, but his eyes, sharp, cold as glass, didn't flinch. The question is, if I were no one, would I still have deserved to be treated that way? No one answered. Only the soft hiss of the air conditioner whispered overhead, like a quiet accusation slipping through the vents. Arthur didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He turned to the manager. I don't want anyone fired. I want to see change. Then he walked to his table, like any ordinary guest. But the restaurant, Maison Blanche, would never be the same again. The following week, Maison Blanche changed. A new sign was placed at the entrance. Every person is a guest worthy of respect, regardless of color, gender, or appearance. Arthur no longer appeared often. But his name, Arthur Kane, was etched onto a small brass plaque in the main lobby. Investor, a believer in fairness. Ava still worked there, but now, she greeted each guest with a genuine smile, no longer the rehearsed one. She no longer said, sir, or ma'am, with awkward formality. But instead softly said, good evening, brother, or welcome, sister, her eyes full of quiet gratitude. One evening, Arthur returned. This time, he wasn't alone. He walked in with an elderly woman, her trembling hands gently holding onto her grandson's arm. It was his grandmother, now frail, her memory fading, but still remembering that bowl of beef stew they were once denied. Ava was the server that night. She approached their table with slightly shaking hands, but her voice was steady. Sincere, may I offer you our special beef stew? Ma'am, on the house. Consider it a long overdue apology. Arthur said nothing. He simply smiled. That meal became the first time his grandmother ever sat in a fine restaurant. Not stared at, not turned away, just welcomed. And for the first time, Arthur saw her eyes, clouded now by age, glisten with tears. Not from pain, but from the warmth of a night untouched by injustice. Only the rich aroma of stew, and a quiet kind of healing. As they left, Arthur didn't leave a check. He left a folded piece of paper, handwritten. Respect isn't something everyone naturally has to give. But it's something everyone deserves. If we're willing to open our hearts. Do you believe that even a single glance can leave a scar that lasts a lifetime? And that sometimes, the ones we overlook, are the very ones holding the power to change an entire system. Today's story isn't just about a meal. It's about dignity, about memory, and about a lesson so powerful, it left an entire restaurant in silence. Join me as we walk through the journey of a man who stepped into the very place that once turned him away. And left behind a kindness so profound, it made others bow their heads. Not in shame, but in awakening. Not everyone has the power to right every wrong. But everyone has the choice to treat others with kindness, with respect. Perhaps, the greatest lesson in this story isn't about revenge, but about forgiveness, and a bowl of beef stew that, years ago, was never served. Thank you for watching until the end. If this story moved you, don't forget to leave a comment, share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel, so we can continue spreading hope and humanity in a world that still struggles with injustice. See you again in the next story.